Come on, camera, focus. Hello, people. We're live from Florida. And as you will notice, I have Mrs. SC to join us because you know what we're really good about is we're good about talking about our businesses and we're good about talking about all of our adventures. But we forget these people behind the scenes, and oftentimes they get the absolute worst of all this. I think Tonya can testify that, like, when things are not going well, she gets to feel it.
Yep.
So I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time, but Joe's with us watching on YouTube. We have Fry Fence and Construction, so welcome Joe and Fry Fence and Construction. And we had a whole bunch of people on Facebook drop a bunch of comments, so I can't show those. But you can go to Facebook and you can read those. But I thought maybe we'd do some rapid fire here on those questions that we got. So the biggest question everybody really wants to know, there was a couple people who really wanted to know about the shoes. Now I have those shoes, and those shoes are special to me. And I love those shoes because they speak to my soul. I was a little skeptical at first, but let me tell you how those shoes came about. We were in Virginia for the East Coast Fence Rivalry that was put on by Derek Cox. And my son and I waded out into the middle of the river, whatever river, is it the New River? I don't know. The big river by where we were staying, and we were fishing and having a great time, and our shoes were wet because it was rocky and we didn't want to wade out in there without shoes. So got our shoes all wet and needed to go do some other stuff. And I think we had to go back to the event later on. We're like, crap, we got to go find some shoes. Well, Galax, Virginia had a shoe store. Actually, not a bad shoe store, maybe even better than St. Augustine. So we go walking in there barefoot, and they kind of look at us like, what are you two people doing? It was raining out, by the way. So there was that. We walk in barefoot and it's raining. So we walk in there like, yeah, well, we need some shoes. And she looks at our feet and she's like, well, I guess. So we're looking around. We were just going to get some cheap Crocs or something. And then it was this as if a ray of light had shone on the shelves, and I could just catch out of the corner of my eye. I could catch this ray of light, and it was off to the left. I was looking at Crocs, and then this ray of light caught my eye off to the left, and I turned my head and I look over on the wall, and there's these Champion shoes, and they're like a Croc. They're not a Croc. And I went over there and I looked at them and I held it in my hand. And it was like, it was like a marshmallow. And I held it in my hand and I was like, wow, this thing is effing huge. And then I put it on my foot and I put weight on my foot. And that's when I fell in love. And I knew these were the shoes for me because it kind of fits with my MO. So anybody that knows about me knows that I like shoes that make a statement. And so you can imagine Mark and now Cade, because Cade got a pair of these too, walking around Galax, Virginia in these ginormous cloud marshmallow shoes at kind of like what would be I would call it like a cowboy event, where everybody's, cowboyed up. And here we are, shorts and cloud shoes. And so, yeah, that's how those came along. They're amazing. And don't knock it until you put your foot in one, because they're every bit as comfortable as a cloud. It's what I imagined if I was going to put my foot into a cloud. So
100% right. 100%.
Yeah. People steal them all the time. They make fun of them, but then they put them on and they're like, oh, okay, you might be onto something. And I don't know who these people are. Somebody says they're awful. Well, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Now this is Kelly Locklear. Kelly Locklear is a customer of mine from North Carolina. We went up and installed a gate at his place in North Carolina because he saw us on the Hacksman's channel. It's like, you know what, those guys up there, that's who's going to put in my gate. So we went up and put in an automatic gate for him, used the US automatic product, and sounds like he's still pretty happy. He hasn't called me up and says it doesn't work, so that's always a good sign. Let's see. John Hurt is a friend of mine from Wyoming. He asked, how's Florida going? That's really, we could do a whole like probably 50 hours of how Florida's going. Florida's going okay, and we will get really direct questions. So if you have a specific question, it's going better than it was 6 months ago, but not as good as it's going to be going 6 months from now. How about that? That's how good Florida's going. Nora Sloop wants to know what color, how I'm going to decorate my room in her house. Holy buckets, that thing is loud. How I'm going to decorate her room or my room in her house. They're building a new house. It's been a heck of a process. They're getting close. I still feel like I'm going to lose $200 because we had a double or nothing bet. The initial bet was that Ryan and Nora would be in their house by the end of September. That didn't happen. We went double or nothing for the 15th of October. And they can't move into their house because they have run into the bureaucracy that is the county government for a septic system. So I probably am going to lose $200. So I do look forward to staying up there with them and doing some pasture racing or something. So, and then this is another one of our good friends. This is the Hacksman. If you guys don't know who the Hacksman is, oh my gosh, the Hacksman's amazing. He'll teach you how to clean up your water so that you don't get diarrhea, because he's not big on diarrhea and bodily fluids problems. So that's where you go to learn about survival and keeping people off your property. And we had a hand in keeping all the riffraff out of his property. So here's some serious questions. Matt Warner, who is my salesman, Empire Fence and Net. I hope I got that right. Fence and Net, not net and fence. Nebraska. He asks, what is a good time to buy your own property and build your own office? Probably a year ago. No, hang on, wait, I'm going to go back. Probably 3 years ago was a great time to do that. Right before everything got super expensive and right before interest rates went.
Definitely not now.
Last year is when I decided to do that, and maybe not the best time, but probably better than sometime in the future. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I guess when you have enough money and you feel like you're outgrowing your space and you and your bank both decide you can pay for it. If you can pay cash, even better, but I'm not that rich. Matt kind of did a whole bunch of rapid fire questions, and so we'll try and get through some of those real quick. Matt also said, why does my balance sheet say I'm making money, but my bank account is empty? And there is a good reason. I would say look in two places. Your balance sheet says you're making money. Usually it's your profit and loss say you're making money, and it shows up on your balance sheet too. But if you're making money and your bank account's drained, there's two places it's at, and that is accounts receivable. And the other place that it is probably accounts receivable. Payments, you can lose a lot of money in your bank account if you're making a whole bunch of payments, and if you have payments that are more than what your profits have been for the year, because not all that goes on your P&L, only the interest expense. I have to really think about this. And then the other place is going to be inventory. You can have a ton of inventory sitting out in your yard, and that takes up a whole bunch of cash. Let's see. Matt Schaefer, physical inventory. We're going to do some, I have a video coming out, hopefully this week, maybe. We've been working on it for a while about our inventory system, and that's a big deal. So talking about cash on your balance sheet and where all your money's at, could be sitting on the shelf. So watching all that inventory, know how much inventory you carry and how much you should carry for the size of operation you are, how much you can afford to carry, being able to track all that, super important. So that's where we're going to talk a little bit more about what we use to track our inventory and how we manage all that stuff, hopefully this weekend. And be sure to comment on that video. If you have additional questions, we're always looking for ideas and things to cover. So ask all those questions in those videos. Physical inventory, we do physical inventory once a year. I think most people do, because physical inventory is like getting a prostate exam. It's not a whole lot of fun, and the worse your system is, the less fun it will be. So typically people do it once a year. There are people I think that do it maybe twice a year, but for our, depending on your situation, I can't see that is necessary. What is a good, Matt Schaefer also asked, what is a good benchmark for yearly sales for an estimator project manager in our industry? I'm going to take a stab at this, and this is just my personal feedback. Is it's a lot easier to have a big number if you're going to be in commercial work. It's a lot harder to get a big number out of one salesperson if you're doing like what we're doing here in Florida and it's residential. I would say I'm going to give you a ballpark of I'm going to say residential is probably, you should shoot for 1 million on the low side and 2 million might be on the high side. So that's going to be a pretty large window. I would say if you've got a really good commercial estimator, and depending on what their other tasks are, because that can play a big role in how much how much they're able to do. You know, our salespeople also act as the project manager, so they can't take on too much or they'll get overwhelmed. So typically we think those people can do anywhere from 2 to 4 million per salesperson is what I would say on those. 4 might be a little bit on the high side, depending on how demanding their projects are. So again, I'd love to see your guys' feedback on that, what you think. That's just my experience. It's been really hard to get, and 4 is probably on the high side even for our guys. Chris Steele. I don't know if Chris Steele's even watching. He's probably out on his honeymoon. So congratulations to Chris Steele and his new bride. If you don't know, he just got married, I think, last weekend. And I saw that they were on a plane going somewhere. I'm not sure where, but probably having a lot more fun than the rest of us. He wants to know whether or not we can drive aluminum posts. The better question is can you drive posts for aluminum fence? And the answer is 100% yes. And that information will be coming out very soon. And we're super excited about it because that's a system we now own. We purchased the patent for that unique system, and we'll be releasing more information about that, bringing you videos on how to do that. But as you all well know, if you've been watching any of our videos, we don't concrete posts down here. I don't concrete posts. If you want a concreted post job, you're going to have to go somewhere else. That's not what we do. I can't remember the last time we concreted an entire job. We will concrete posts. Like if we can't drive it right up underneath the eaves of a house, we'll dig it down, and then we may concrete that house right, or the fence post right by the house. But other than that, we don't concrete posts. I'm sick and tired of making a mess out of people's yards. I'm sick and tired of the whole mess. I don't concrete posts, and we just went through a tropical storm and no issues. And actually, that's not true. I went by and we are going to fix a fence tomorrow where one of the posts settled. There are actually 2 posts settled, so they settled down and leaned. And we're going to go fix all that stuff for free because that's not the customer's fault. And I feel like those problems wouldn't have been there had we driven that fence. But no, we dug it and set it like everybody else back in the early days. And we're just not going to do that. All of our driven stuff, not a single fence leaned, fell over. And I've got one that's a 7-foot tall, board on board, 5/4 deck board, tight together, super, super heavy, wide open, no wind protection, and it's still standing true and strong. So I'm a firm believer in driving posts, and I'm a firm believer in not using wood for posts. We're going to get to some of the YouTube comments and stuff here in just a second, so be patient with me. Thomas Crane wants to know about the I-beam posts. So we are working on the manufacturing part of that, and like I say, that's going to be very, very soon. So appreciate you guys' patience. Trust me, it'll be worth it. We have not. Let's see. I haven't dug an aluminum fence job since in probably 6 months. We've pounded everything. And our customers love it. You want to talk about going in and making people, you know, all these people talking about, I can't get into your yard because it's all muddy. Guess what? For us, not a problem. I'll be there tomorrow. Put on my waders and we'll go walk through your grass. And by the time we're done, you probably not even realize we were there. So huge deal. So what do you have to say about all this? How has this been for you, Mrs. SC? You've got you get a front row seat to all this stuff. And if you have questions for her, make sure you ask her the hard questions. She'll tell you, because behind each one of us, whether or not, and some of you women, behind you women, there's a man, and behind us men, there's a woman. And they get to feel all this, like they get to feel it in their soul, because there's days that are just not amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So tell them about what you think about all this stuff. Because this was not your idea.
No, this was not my idea. This was the harebrained idea of you.
We had company, it was about as well thought out about as this live event, where I was just like, hey, we should go live tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I should see if I still remember how to do this. That's about all the thought that went into this.
But while I didn't plan on this happening, I also supported you 100% in it. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, I've been with him for 28, 29 years. And basically, I know that I have 100% faith in him that whatever will be, good, bad, and ugly. So my best place to be is just beside him to help support him in it. Because otherwise, why am I here?
We went through bankruptcy together, so this isn't anything. If we can do that, we went through bankruptcy and alcoholism together. So if we can survive those two things, I feel like this is nothing.
I think so Forever Fence and Gate had a question that for his wife. She has a lot of faith in me starting up, but it's hard for her. Any advice on making it work? Open communication. Don't hide anything. Keep everything open. I mean, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, hey, we got this job today, or hey, we lost a bunch of money on this job today, or, hey, the employees did this today. Or the biggest thing is don't have it be one-sided. Make sure that you do it together and make sure you're communicating together, because you're who each other has. Basically, you're the support group. So, and the open communication and knowing everything that's going on will help you succeed, because it'll help you, number one, bounce ideas off each other. Number two, support each other, because there's days where he comes in and he's just throwing in the towel, ready to be done. Absolutely, 100%. He's like, I don't know why I did this. I don't think that I want to do this anymore. But those are the times where I'm like, whoa, take a breath, think about it. And, that's the best part, is just being able to be there for each other.
So this is something that probably anybody that's going to get ready to start up any business, it doesn't matter. Come on, focus. Okay. I'm using really good technology here. It's a freaking webcam stuck on the top of my monitor. This is amazing. Anyhow, I just gave this advice to somebody that I went and visited while I was out in California. And it's something that comes up in a lot of business relationships, because we're out there, and us guys, or us business owners, I shouldn't even say the guys, but the ones, this is our baby. And so we're giving it everything we've got. And this may or may not apply to the female business owners. So I don't want to single you guys out, but not include you in all this, but we go out there and we work super hard to get this thing going, and we give it everything we've got. And sometimes what we do is we forget to come home and be present. Mm-hmm. So we forget to come home, and that it's important to be home, and we want to go to work, and we want to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we want to show up at 9 o'clock at night. By the time we show up at 9 o'clock at night, the spouse that we have gets the absolute worst part of us, because we're tired, we're wore out, and we don't have time for them. And they just want to listen. Sometimes they're even happy to listen to us about our day, but we're just like, we don't want to talk about it. It's terrible. I just want to go to sleep. I want to, veg out on the couch, whatever it is. And, so I would say that if you're starting a new business, one of the things you've got to do, and we talked about this earlier in one of the Successful Contractors, you've got to make time for your family. Mm-hmm. This business is important, but trust me, it's not the most important thing. You'll think it's important right up until your family's not there anymore to support you. So make time for your spouse, your husband, your wife, and your kids.
And I'm going to step in there and be because I've seen both sides, because we've been doing this for how long now? And there has been times where I was definitely on the back burner, where business was 100% first. And when he came home, he was checked out and didn't really have much to do with us. And that really hurts. I mean, that's a huge stressor in a marriage. But fast forward through all the stuff that we've learned with this new business, he's not like that anymore. I mean, he comes home and we have time together, and even if it is late at night. But I've also adapted my schedule to be more accessible to him as well. Because instead of going to bed at 8:30, I'll stay up.
So we have schedules that work now because she works with me, and so that helps out a lot. But you've got to give them the time. You've got to check out. And I'm going to tell you something that may surprise you guys, but I'm not going to advocate for anybody going out there and working 7 days a week, 12-hour days to try and get this business that I'm starting here in Florida is going to survive with me working, let's say 50, maybe even 55 hours. But I'm not going to work 80-hour weeks. I'm not going to do it. If that's what it takes for this business to survive, if I can't make this business survive and still have time for my spouse and my children, I'll let it fail. It's as simple as that. They're more important than this thing succeeding. And I hate to fail. You have no idea how desperately and how paranoid I am that this is going to fail or anything's going to fail after being through what I've been through. It's just not an option, but it is. I mean, I don't want it to be an option, but it is. And we've got to find a way to make that work where I can still have a life, because she's way more important. The other thing we have a saying, we coined this saying several years ago, is we can do anything for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is. We can stick anything out for 2 years. It can suck for 2 years. And so that's kind of why this 2-year challenge came about too, is because we can do it for 2 years. And if we don't see light at the end of the tunnel, I mean, I'll find somebody to just say, hey, we got this thing started and we're going to let you have it, and I'll help you coach through it. Take it and run with it, because I'm just not going to do it. Maybe I'm just old and I'm stubborn. I don't know what the deal is, but we've got to find a way to make it work without having to do 80-hour weeks.
But it definitely goes both ways. You do your part, but I also do my part.
Oh, yeah. And trust me, she babies the heck out of me. If you have never met a bigger baby than me, she packs my lunches. She prepares my plate and puts it on the table. I sit down and I'm like, we have a very traditional relationship. I sit at the table and she brings me my food. And if I even try to get it, she's like, what are you doing? That's not your job. So I'm very fortunate that I have a great wife. And that's kind of what Hacksman put a comment up here. I'll show you here. But he said, you've got to have a spouse, and a supportive spouse is a huge part of this. Here it is. Having an awesome wife is important. If he told Kim he wanted to quit YouTube and start an albino gecko farm, she'd support him. And that's what Tonya would.
That's how I am too. Absolutely.
I could come to her and talk her into any kind of crazy idea, and she's like, yeah, I think you could probably make a go of that. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait until we have all these little albino geckos running around. It's going to be amazing. And little gecko babies. So that's good. And I've met Kim. Kim and Adam are they're amazing people. So like I say, really, really go check out that channel if you haven't already. They're amazing people, and we're fortunate to know them. So let's see. I'll scroll through some comments. I don't know who this is. It thinks my shoes are awful. That's just terrible. Probably whoever said that should just unsubscribe, unfollow me. We can't be friends. I can't have that kind of hate in my life. Let's see. Fry fence and curbscape. Any tips on installing a Maristar Montage 8-foot tall? So 8-foot tall Montage. We've done some 8-foot tall Montage, and I do have a lot of tips. They're probably better off in a video, and we were just talking about this because we just did a job. In fact, we've been doing a lot of Maristar projects. And those of you that may know that I taught ornamental metal fence class at the AFA university that's coming up. Now, Alan's going to do that this year. I elected not to do that because I'm so busy with all this. But one of the things we covered in that class is how to do things that can make that process easier. And the number one thing to do if you're going to do a Maristar or any aluminum fence is to get your post spacing correct. You've got to get that post spacing nailed down and cut as few panels as possible. So what we do is we make jigs to help us get our spacing. Same thing with putting the brackets on. We'll make jigs for that so that they're all exactly the same. Yeah, and then we use a 300-foot tape measure, obviously, to lay out our holes so that we don't get off as we introduce error using a 16-foot tape or something like that. So those are my biggest things. Cut as few panels as possible. And, so if you've got a 400-foot run, cut maybe the last 4 panels, but not all of them. Get them to where they just drop in there, and it'll make it super, super easy. But we do have a video. We're talking about doing a video that'll come out, and we'll go through how to set it up, how to figure out exactly what your panel spacing in. And that's another thing that I need to warn you of. Anytime you're working with any kind of a Maristar or aluminum, know your spacing. Put your hardware on and don't assume that it's going to be exactly 6 foot or exactly 8 foot on center. You will screw yourself up so fast and cost yourself so much time and money, because so few times that's the spacing for your posts. We have 3 or 4 different aluminum manufacturers that say they're 6 foot panels, and one of them's 2 inches shorter than the other. So just know that it's not exactly 6 feet. Got to figure that stuff out. Justin Neri says, how do we get a SWI floor to sign for the wall? I don't know. Send me a postage paid envelope and I'll send you one out.
Self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah, give me that self-addressed stamped envelope because we broke. I don't know we don't make money down here. I don't know what you think we're doing. We get the pleasure of hanging out in the sun, but for that pleasure, we got to pay to build fences. That's the way that works. Let's see. Somebody asked, what are YouTube channels called? So we have 2 YouTube channels. One's called SWI Fence, and the other one's called Successful Contractor. And if you're into flying, I also have Fly Guy. I haven't posted on that in a while, but I did get the plane back. It looks amazing. I've flown it a couple times and probably going to sell it to help fund this whole venture down here, and maybe put in a pool. It's going to go to the business and the pool out back. So if you live in Florida, you got to have a pool, I guess. And then we're going to start a new channel, I think, with the kids too. So the kids channel is going to be called PJ Jenks. That's the channel. So if it sounds interesting, it will be. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So we got this.
He had a good question about marketing. Can you guys talk a little bit about marketing?
Yeah, so he says he's enjoyed the channel since he started this challenge. The business is just in a startup in Lovell and struggling quite a bit, but SWI has been a great help in getting us going. So I'm assuming Forever Fence, you must be in Wyoming. That's cool. I don't know of you. Maybe you started after I left, but yeah, we have a great team and we get a ton of compliments for our team in Wyoming that ships all the orders for all the tools and stuff like that. They do a great job. We screw up every now and again, like everybody, but they really do take really good care of our customers, and I'm fortunate to have that amazing team. And we're building an amazing team here. Like, I can't stress to you enough that things really changed for us when we got Amber and Jeremy and Brian and Clay, and we started picking an Omari. That lifted so much weight. I mean, it just changed the people that we had, just good, solid people that work hard, and, they're fun to be around. They're more skilled. It's just, the whole game changed. What was that, 4 months ago, 5 months ago? 4, I don't know. When we did that, it's been good. Michael Cunningham says, Mark, I'm in Northeast Florida area, First Coast Fence. Finding good help is killing me. Where do you get most of your applicants? from Indeed, Facebook, or other. Also, I'd like to network with you and get to know you. I've been watching your videos for a while. Thanks for watching the videos. Okay, I thought this question was going to come up. I'm really excited about it. So where do we get our help, Tonya?
They pop out of the
this.
sky. Good help's hard to find.
Yeah, so what are we using? What are we using to help recruit people? You're the one that runs it.
Yeah, we're using Applicant Pro.
Yeah, so Applicant Pro is
Applicant Pro. Wow, Applicant Pro. It utilizes Indeed and I believe Facebook, and then I think you can sign on to have it use other employment platforms as well. But Indeed and Facebook are the two major ones that we use, and our website. Then the website has links.
So if you go to our website and you want to know a little bit more about how our application process, what we do is Applicant Pro lets us set criteria and questions and stuff. And so if you go to our website, it posts all that to a page on our website that looks like our website. Now they build that page and then it posts all of our open jobs, and we can have job descriptions. And so all that stuff's on our website under other tabs or other resources maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me just pull that up. I'll show you really quick what that looks like. So you can see, so we're using that.
Which surprisingly, we do actually get quite a bit of just organic applications. Well, I wouldn't say quite a bit, probably a couple a month, just by utilizing our website without advertising.
Okay, so if you go to our website, and Wyoming's the same way, you go here and under the resources tab, you'll see employment. Now, so you can go to apply online, and this was where you actually leave our website, although it doesn't look like you do because they've built this to look exactly like our website. But if you'll notice up here in the top, you're at Applicant Pro. And so it shows you that we're looking for foremen and installers, and then it pushes all these postings straight out to Indeed, and that doesn't go to Facebook. But here you can learn a lot about, this is the job description we use for a foreman, telling them exactly what we're looking for. And so that's basically what we're doing. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to stop sharing so we can get back to this. I will tell you that one of the things that we're doing that's different is we just pay better. And I want to stress this. So we've talked about this numerous times, and I can't get this through people's head enough. This 1099 bullshit that's going on down here you're hurting everybody. You're hurting the people that are working for you, and you're hurting their families. It's terrible. And we're just not going to participate in that. I will do 1099, but it's going to be done the right way. They're going to have insurance. They're going to have work comp, or it's going to be owners that are exempt from work comp. We're going to do everything the correct way. You're not going to come in here and we're not going to provide you a truck to drive around that's our truck and then rent it to you and rent you all our tools. And we're not going to play all those games. That's nonsense, and you're hurting everybody, and it's just driving the market down. So what we're willing to do is we're willing to pay a ton more than everybody else because it's expensive. I can't have people coming to work for me that can't put food on their table. And some quick math for you, for every $10 an hour you pay somebody, that's $20,000 a year. So if they're making $10,000, you're paying them $20,000 a year in an area. You can't even hardly get housing for that. When housing down here costs $2,500 a month, it's just crazy to think that you would do that. How can you tell me that you care about your team members and then pay them peanuts? $20 an hour, which most of these people are not paying. Think about that. That's only $40,000 a year. What can you really afford on $40,000 a year now? That's almost poverty levels, by the federal government standards. If they don't have a spouse at home that's working the same, then they're into $80,000. That's a little bit better. But what if they don't have a spouse at home and they've got kids to feed and stuff? That's ridiculous. And you want these people to show up and bust their ass for you, and you can't do better than that because you think you can't raise your prices? If you have that mindset, you will never, ever get the people that will carry your flag into battle for you. That's the way I feel about that. Those are strong words. If you're that type of person, You don't deserve to succeed because you don't care enough about your team. And if you're working for that kind of money and you're an owner, you should strive to do better. Why in the world would anybody go out there and take on this amount of stress and risk to make such little money? And people do it all day, every day, because they don't think they can raise their prices and charge enough. And I am living proof down here. If nothing else, if the only thing you guys learn out of this experience down here is that I came down here and I did the best I could, and I carried my principles to the grave with me, then by golly, I made an impact. Because we are not doing things like everybody else. We don't hire people at peanuts. And we build the best dang fence around. That's all there is to it. I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to do things the way I believe in. And if you're not on board with that, then you're not my customer. Plain and simple. There's no contract that says just because you called me up, I got to build a fence for you. You've got to meet my criteria just as much as I have to meet yours. Get that in your head and pay your people what they deserve. $20 an hour is $40,000 a year. Think about if you're making $40,000 a year. That's not much. And if you are and you're a business owner, try and make more. I mean, the only way to do that is raise your prices and value your time more. I value my time more. So that's my soapbox for that. So a prime example. So we hired Preston. We got him from another fence company. We hired our starting wage down here is $18 an hour. You can go to our website and look at that stuff. It's not a secret. We just decided that that's where we're at. That's not great money. And what I expect to get for $18 an hour is somebody that's either going to move up or somebody that's entry level, probably still living at home. I don't really expect to get family people, single income people that are trying to raise a family on that. And we are doing some things that are adding benefit to that. So health insurance and 401k and paid time off, all that stuff. So, I was throwing around that $20 an hour. Just think about all that. And so we've got, Austin's an 18-year-old kid and Preston's single, getting married. And I worry about these people. I worry about how they're going to make it on so little money in this market. But anyhow, he was making, after almost a year of being with the company, he was making $12 an hour. It's $12 an hour. Now that's I don't know if $20 an hour is poverty level, but that's ridiculous.
That's what they pay.
$12 an hour.
That's what they pay 14-year-olds here.
Yeah.
$12 an hour. Yeah.
I mean, you can go to McDonald's and make that. I don't know why people would do that and why people would put up with that. So he was just ecstatic to be getting the kind of pay that we're offering, and we offer our foremen even more money because we're saddling them with a ton more responsibility. And we want the best. I want people that actually care. They show up in the morning energized and ready to go to work. Like I said, I want them to carry our flag into battle. So we're not going to pay peanuts. And I know that I'm surprised, honestly, that there is not more people that have come to us from other fence companies around, but I think the word hasn't really gotten out there yet. I did get yelled at. One fence company thought that we were trying to steal their people. We offered one of their guys that came and applied for a job. We put out Facebook ads, and he came and applied for a job with us, and we were going to hire him. And so we offered him a lot of money. Like, he was capped out at 20, and after being a foreman with him for 6 years or something like that, and they really didn't want to raise him up. So we offered him substantially more money, and he used that and went back to him and said, "Hey, they tried to woo me away, and they're going to pay me this, and they tried to recruit me away from you." And basically said we approached him, which was not the case. And so he called me up. This other company owner called me up, just livid with me, like, "What are you doing?" Like, I was standing outside the gate handing out my business card every morning to their people, which was not the case. I don't do that. If you want a job with me, you're going to have to come to us, and you're going to have to show interest. I'm not going to go chase you down. So anyhow, and I said, no, that's not at all it. And so he ended up staying there, using that as leverage to stay there. And I didn't really understand that, how you stay at a company that didn't see your value before, and all of a sudden you think they're going to take better care of you. So, and the fact that he lied about that whole thing just meant that this was not the right fit for him. So that's my employee thing. I hate to waste too much time on that, but it's been a wild ride. Employee, team member situations they're difficult everywhere. But it's made worse if you don't want to pay people.
We have some good talent though.
Yeah, but we've paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we paid for it. They're worth every penny though. I'm glad that they show up every morning, and it seems like the more I pay them, the better they do. So it's weird. You know, the more energized they are when they can buy a house and support their family. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of other. I'm going to try and get through some more of these inventory. Joe Rivers. Okay, so full transparency, Joe. I'm going to be honest with you. When's the last time I checked our P&L? The last time I checked our P&L and on the job. Okay, this is where we're going to get brutally honest. I told you I'd be honest, and you can ask me the tough questions. I haven't checked it since the last time I did a video update about it. Is that terrible? Yes. I've been so busy doing everything else, and part of it is I'm just scared of what it's going to say. Is that honest enough for you? That's terrible. But I am truly busy running and installing. And if I was sitting in the office every day, it would be much easier. Is that any excuse? No, I could make the time if I wanted to, and I should make the time. And in fact, I need to do a video update and really find out where I was. I was going to have Tonya actually pull all that stuff up and send me the report, but we'll do a video update on that. And we haven't really gotten to the place yet in Florida where we can do job costing P&Ls because we don't have our inventory system fully set up yet. So that's coming. We're a work in progress. And let me tell you, all of you out there, is that we all have room for improvement, and you just start where you are. You pick one thing and you work at it, and you don't worry about it. If you slip, okay, we'll try again tomorrow. So I don't think any of us is running the perfect business. Mark, can you give me an example of value add on a fence bid in lieu of giving a discount for military first responders? I recently talked to Sean King, and he mentioned it in our conversation, and I would just like to hear your thoughts. Value add on a fence bid. So I hired a military guy that runs around with a military plate, and then I guess they probably don't ask him as much anymore. I don't get that question a whole bunch. I think we get a little bit carried away. Maybe this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think we get a little bit carried away with the first responder discounts and the military discounts. And I was a fireman for however many years. Tanya's a nurse. That doesn't mean that I don't respect our military people, but at the same time, it's kind of my. I can appreciate something without feeling like I need to discount my value to appreciate that. Does that make sense? It's no different. I don't go tripping over myself to go visit some celebrity or something like that. I just don't. They're doing a job just like I am. That's the job they chose. I chose to be a fireman. I don't need any special recognition because of that. I don't need a discount. If you offer one, I'm going to take it, but I'm not going to be mad if you don't. And I never ask for one. It's only if they advertise it, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm a fireman. I'll take $3,000 off my truck. Sure. So that's how I feel about that. We don't value add. We do things like the best warranty in the business. That fence I told you where we had a post that settled, we're going to go fix that for free. They didn't call me. That customer did not call me. I was driving down the road and I'm like, holy crap, that looks like crap. I stopped in and I said, hey, you know what? This is our fault. We did this. And we have an anti-settle warrant, guarantee. So if any of those posts settle and all of a sudden you get a fence that looks like this because one post settled, we'll be there to fix it. They didn't call me. I called them and said, hey, it looks like crap. We're going to come by and fix it. Wow, that's amazing. Thanks. You want to talk about value add? That's what we're going to do. That's our value add. Peace of mind, knowing that we're going to take care of your stuff. We're going to do a good job. And if we screw something up, don't worry, we're on it. So there again, if you don't get that, then you're not our customer.
We're constantly driving by jobs, looking at them.
Yeah. I drive by one job every single day because it's right down from my house, that horizontal cedar fence that's on the Fence Professionals Network. We did that, and boy, that thing looks great. Just looks amazing. So let's see. Dan Wheeler, just shouting out the love for the show. And those of you that don't know or aren't aware, perhaps because you're under a rock, Dan Wheeler has a podcast, Defense Industry Podcast. So be sure to check that out. And I think it's on YouTube as well under the same name. Fry wants to know if we concrete our terminals for chain link. Now, it depends on where you are. Now, if I'm going to drive the post, I'm going to drive the terminals just the same as I'm going to drive all the line posts. The key is, hear me when I say this, when you go to drive posts, the key is depth. It's not, think about, people will say, oh, driving posts, how do you get away with that in Florida sand? Guess what? Sand compacts great because you add a little bit of water and it's at full compaction. It doesn't get any better than that. Sure, it drives easy, but the soils around it's going to be compact, so I don't have to worry about that too much. But the key to, because you can wiggle it around, loosen it, is to go deeper. You know, you can't just put it in 18 inches and call it good. You might be able to do that in clay in some areas in the South, and you might be able to go 2 feet, but in sand, you're not going to get away with 2 feet. You know, it's 3+ down here. So go deeper. You're going to have to buy more posts, but you aren't going to have to clean up the mess. So we will. The other thing to be concerned about is if you have any twisting effect because of gates when you drive posts. Like, let's say you drive a round pipe and you're worried about gates on vinyl fence twisting. Those can rotate because the soil may not hold good enough, and especially down here in the sand. If you have that kind of problem, what you need to do is you need to either smash the end and flatten out the end, or put a plate on there, kind of like you do on a T-post, weld a plate so that it can't spin when that torque hits it. So be looking out for those two things. Driving fences is all we do. That's all I do every day. My guys that I have now threatened to quit if I ever made them pack another bag of concrete for an entire job. I'm literally not kidding you. And I said, nope. Okay, you got it. We will not sell another job that if it has to be dug and set, with limited exception. I can't say never, but Kenny Michael Hazelwood says, how did we become the fence industry standard? I don't know that we are the fence industry standard. There's a lot of people that still think I'm straight up freaking nuts, but we're not everybody else. That's all I care about. I'm not everybody else. We offer a different product, and if, like I say, if you don't get that, then and we put out a lot of promotional stuff. We try to drill all this into people's heads. You'd have to probably be living under a rock not to know how we're going to do fence. So the people that do call us because they want the way we're doing things. They're calling us because, like, well, we saw your system and that looks so amazing. Can you put in a fence for us? And we're like, oh, yeah, heck yeah, we can. Well, that's a little bit more than everybody else. In fact, it's just quite a bit more. You know, our sales pitch on the phone is terrible. We're like, if you called us because you wanted a sheet fence, then we want to warn you straight up front. Now we're going to be more. We might be more expensive. We're going to be more expensive by 10 to 20% than everybody else out there. Here's why we're going to be more expensive. Here's some videos about what we do. Think about it, and if you want, give us a call back. Pretty good sales pitch, huh? It's amazing. We want to set that expectation right up front that we're going to be more expensive, because then they know. We've had a lot of talks about this too. Just a tremendous amount of talks about how we market ourselves, because we're so much more expensive and we're so different than the standard. So Double R Fence wants to know what type of pounder we're using to set aluminum posts. We're using a Rhino pounder. We use a Rhino pounder for everything. We use it for postmasters. We use it for chain link posts, and we use it for the I-beams that are going to be coming out. So, yeah, Rhino pounders, they work great. They don't go through tree roots great. But the good thing is that usually we can move over just a little bit. If we've got some room, we can move over, or most of the time we have roots that are within the top foot, let's say. So we've gotten pretty good at adapting and overcoming the root challenge. It's no different than if you're going to be in an area where there's rocks. You're going to have to figure it out. Identify, adapt, and overcome is the saying. Is starting a business as good as you thought it would be in Florida? And how do you set ourselves apart from the competition? So, yeah, full transparency here. No, starting a business in Florida was a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. But I'm committed. And at the end of this, I may be committed. Florida is without a doubt. I think you could find some tough markets. I can think maybe like the Dallas market or something like that. But I think even Dallas isn't quite as competitive as this market. This market is crazy competitive. And it's because what do you see right now? You see everybody from the north thinking, hey, you know what? I want to go make some money. Where could I just go to? Maybe I'll just go down and work in Florida for the winter. And so they pack up a truck and a couple of guys and they come down here for a couple months. And just to let you know, if you're one of those people, these people down here really, you might find a taker or two, but they're really not having it because they know that you're not going to be there to service them after the sale. They look at me even a little bit skeptical because so much of what I do is from Wyoming. And they're like, well, are you really going to stay here? Are you an outsider? We don't know if we can trust you yet. So I'm definitely not considered a local, I wouldn't say. And that just depresses the market. There are so many chucks in a truck. I have never seen a chuck in a truck market like this market here. I mean, it's just go down to your Home Depot or your Lowe's every morning and watch them load up. It's comical, honestly. So let's see. Okay, marketing. Forever Fence and Gate has questions about marketing. And this goes into what somebody asked too, what we're doing to set ourselves apart. And I've talked a lot about what we're doing to set ourselves apart. We're not going to be like everybody else. We pay better. We do things differently. And now we're starting to get people all across Florida asking for our methods because they've seen our ads or they've been forwarded to somebody else. And they're like, well, I really want one of those no-dig fences. So if you think you can't do it in your market, you can. You can 100% change people's perception. If, you know, and that's what I want to do is I want people to change the way they think about fence. And I get people that'll comment on our post and be like, oh, how can you drive fences? That's never going to last. Oh, you know what? Oh, granted, it wasn't a category 5, but whose fence is really going to, is anybody going to stand out there and say that their fence is going to hold up to a category 5 hurricane? I had somebody, maybe a week and a half ago. What are you doing?
Nothing.
I had somebody probably a week and a half ago. We're going to have to get her back involved, asking what our wind warranty was. And we were honest with them. We said, you know what, it's probably going to hold up to a tropical storm, but anything over that, you know, which is about 73 to 75 miles an hour. Even the vinyl manufacturers will tell you, unless you start adding a ton of reinforcement inside of it, you're just not going to make it. And these people said, oh, no, our vinyl is going to hold up to 100-mile-an-hour winds. Well, you know what? They were flat lying. They lied to get the job, and, you know, that sucks. Because anybody that tells you that their fence is going to survive a hurricane really can't do that. And more on that coming on SWI's channel. That's all I can say about that. That's a winter project. More on that. So we try and set ourselves apart. We don't want to be like everybody else. It's the wrap on our Tesla. We get a lot of comments on the wraps because we wrap our vehicles, and it's things like this. And I'll just go ahead and I wanted to kind of cover this because I thought you guys might be interested in this a little bit. Right here, it's this stuff like this. This is this is something, not just an idea. It's the exact truck that Sean King runs. Sean King and Josh Glover, and I know Chris Steele, and there's been a lot of people that have copied these trucks, and we are one of them. I shared both screens. Hang on, man, I'm an idiot. Present. Let's make that bigger. Window. That's what I needed to do. I need that one. There. Now you can see it better. So this is one of our trucks. This is Shake and Bake. So back in the beginning, we started naming things. We have Dumpy G. We have the Muscle, which is our forklift. Dumpy G is our dump trailer. This is Shake and Bake. This is what our bay looks like. We have not named this truck. So if you guys have a name for this truck needs a name. This is the muscle here, this forklift. We don't have stickers made for it, but that's what it is. It's called the muscle. And then this is the welding bay. This is the other truck. So we've got two of these. And this is Mungus Chungus. Now, Mungus Chungus. So this is, what's the story behind Mungus Chungus? Go ahead and say this. You know,
that is the brainchild of our son, Cade. Because
the Mungus Chungus was like Looney Tunes, right?
So somebody made Looney Tunes like Bugs Bunny, like severely overweight, and they called him Mungus Chungus or something, right? I don't really know the whole story.
Something to do with that, yeah.
But
and so we had a dog
that was severely overweight.
God rest her soul.
Mungus Chungus. Yeah.
That was Molly. She's no longer with us.
Yeah. She was a good dog, but so now she's living with us through the truck.
Yeah, so the truck, we're like, we need a name for the truck, and so we just decided we were going to call it Mungus Chungus.
Scuppernog.
Scuppernog.
That's what I'm guessing that must be Ryan.
That has to be Ryan.
Yeah. To name your truck Scuppernog?
Yeah. Yep. Scuppernog. I bet there's a lot of people that don't even know what that is, because I would not have known that was a year ago.
I only know because of him.
Yeah. This is the welding bay. So we've got a welding table down here in the corner, just off camera. We keep all our concrete, a lot of our aluminum fence in here. We park all the trucks inside at night because we're worried about people stealing stuff off of them. It costs us about $20,000 in tools to put on these trucks, and so we're not really keen on people popping locks and stealing all our stuff. I don't know what we're going to call this skid steer. We haven't named it yet. This is Golden Boy. Golden Boy needs an engine. We're going to haul it up to North Carolina and have an engine put in it, and that thing will run again. We paid good money to have that pile of crap shipped all the way from Wyoming to here for our son for Christmas last year. So let's see, some more comments. Let's get back up here. I'm having a hard time finding a good digital marketing company. Any recommendations or tips? Spent a lot of money over several companies and never really got us anywhere. So digital marketing is very important. You need to find somebody that you get along with very well, that you trust very well, and they need to report to you every month. Make sure that you get those reports, and you need to see marked improvement over time. But if you sign up and then 2 months later you quit, you're never going to get any results. It needs to be a long-term deal. Like, you need to stick with it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. The longer you stick with it, the better the results will be. And so we use .com Global Media. And Sam has been great for us. It's without him, it's been tough down here in Florida getting noticed. There's a lot of noise. The other things that you can do is you're going to have to take an active role in that. One of the things we're actively doing is we're trying to get reviews. That is one of the best ways. Putting lots of posts out there, staying active on your Facebook, staying active on TikTok, staying active on Insta, whatever you do, find a way to get that stuff out in front of your people and get those reviews. Those reviews are so super critical. And this is one of our guys. This is Michael Kakmar. He's had a tough go. He worked for us in Wyoming and lives in Florida now. Moved to Florida for his health and stuff. Was a welder for us, a great welder. But he just there's what we do. We try and take good care of our people. So if you're not taking good care of your people, then I hate to say it, do better. Rachel Greasy says, "You look great, Tonya." I agree. I would tend to agree.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I absolutely agree. If you weren't taken, I'd be hitting on you. How much different is fencing in Florida versus Wyoming? Florida fencing is a little hotter, and the people down here, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the deal is. They're a lot more There a lot of
Moody.
Yeah, there are some people that are just flat mean.
Mm-hmm.
I have not run in.
People are more outspoken here.
Yeah, they're not afraid to tell you what they think and just tear you up for nothing. That's the one thing that's taken a little bit of time to get used to. Is they're very, was it brash? Is that a good word?
Brash.
Let's just say it. Sometimes they're flat out freaking rude, and those are the kind of people I'm like, well, I'm glad that we're too expensive, because I would not have wanted to run into you.
Well, because like you were saying, in Wyoming, if we were the high bidder or the highest bid, people were more likely to just be like, yeah, I'll go with this company and not say anything. Here, they'll make it known that they don't like it. Very, very loudly.
Michael thinks we need to call the truck Gator.
That's a good name.
Okay, now, so Hacksman's a big Ford guy. He has a trimmer. I don't know why they named a Ford truck after a movie, but they did.
He has a truck named what? Trimmer?
Yeah, no, it's the name of it's the type of, it's like a package, a trim package.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so apparently it's supposed to burrow under the earth and scare a bunch of people. I don't really know what it does, but the silver turd. Now, the funny thing is I was parked next to what I thought was a Ford the other day, and I was like, wow, they finally made the perfect Ford. And turns out it was just a roll-off dumpster. That's all. We're still waiting for the perfect. I have two Fords. I have two Ford F-650s. They're all junk. That's all I'll tell anybody and everybody these days. They're junk. Michael, you should go back to Powell and meet Nolan. Nolan's a pretty serious welder, Michael. Mm-hmm. His TIG welds are. Go to our Facebook page and look at some of his TIG welds. It's something else. So, you are definitely our best producer and a damn good welder, though. So, apparently, I get a Florida Man card, and somebody told me that I live in Florida now. I'm not allowed to wear Salt Life shirts. I told them I didn't care. I wasn't into being fashionable. I was more into being comfortable. So, I'll probably be in white Velcro shoes before long.
Some New Balance.
Yeah. Sarah says we're not alone. We have some of those customers in Missouri too. Mm-hmm. Sarah would be Joe's sister, I believe. It looks like. I assume Sarah. This looks a lot like. No, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. I just know Missouri, and I know Joe has a sister named Sarah. But that's not the same one. I don't know if she's married. Anyhow, sorry if I got you too confused, but yeah. The last, yeah, okay, yeah, Joe's sister. So I was right. That was just, you made me nervous because I don't know last names. So I'm not even going to guess how you say that. It's not like Orlando, it's Orlandi. So I'm glad I got that right. And yes, we have gotten much better at navigating corners with the trailer. I was always really good at it. If you want a story time, it's been an hour. We're gonna cut it off. I'm gonna stop with a story time. I'm gonna stop. This is gonna be a story time. So, and then we're gonna just cut this thing straight off. So, speaking of trailer guy, we did a video about turnover a couple weeks ago, and right after that video, trailer guy called me, and I was like, I don't think so. And then pretty soon, my phone's ringing again. I'm like, still no. And then a couple minutes later, son of a gun, you're tenacious, but no. So 3 times he called me. Then he starts sending with the text, and I'm like, no, I'm just not going to engage you. I've had enough of you when you work here. I'm done. No, I'm not going to engage you. Apparently, he was a little upset by my video and wanted to know how long his photo and video release was good for, and I didn't really have the heart to tell him that that thing's good forever. So he's not very happy about that. He did say that he was going to be, maybe I was going to be hearing from his attorney or something like that. So I look forward to that. If you're watching this video, trailer guy, bring it on. I can handle you. And that's all I have to say about that. So until next time, all you fine, fantastic fencers, have a good dang day. And we're signing off here in Florida, and we're going to go to bed. So I hope you got something out of this. Share the heck out of this. I hope it was entertaining, and love y'all. Good night.